have the great honor and joy to present the Patriot of the Year Award to Stephen Flanagan. The organizer, the founder and director of the Conservative Society for Action. This is a group on Long Island. In fact, there were several CSA members. CSA is short for Conservative Society for Action. Why don't you stand up? This award is for all of you. These are all patriots. And they're all deserve the Patriot of the Year Award. Stephen and I were together. We enjoyed that great moment of victory at the Rome of You, where Congressman Bob Turner had his victory party, and we were there, and many CSA members were involved on the front lines of that campaign, and that's where I asked him, you know, I mentioned to him that we'd like to honor him and give him the recognition in the community for what this extraordinary leader has been doing, you know, just by his own voluntary will. He's been organizing individuals, citizens, taxpayers, hardworking people like me and you, getting them all, you know, up on their feet and involved in the political process. He organized the CSA long before the Tea Party was born from, you remember the rant of Rick Santelli, the CBS newsman, from the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange back in 2009, when he vowed to throw the government tea into Lake Michigan. Since then, he's had many great successes and accomplishments, like the nation's first protest town hall meeting protester in the healthcare debates at Tim Bishop's office. CSA members were there and helped Tim Bishop speak to the fire. There was someone videotaping this, and this went viral on the internet, and it became the blueprint for the entire nationwide Tea Party campaign to hold their elected officials responsible for their actions. And since then, he's gotten, you know, ordinary folks. He's inspired me. He's inspired many people to get involved in the political campaigns. And they had a small army on Long Island who helped win the seat for Senator Lee Zeldin, for Jack Martins, for Assemblyman Dean Murray, for the entire Islip Town Board, getting people involved in the school boards. He is a man of action, and I am so thrilled that he's here in our neck of the woods, here in Queens. It's a great honor for me to present the Patriot of the Year Award to Stephen Flanagan of the Conservative Society for Action. This is the award. It's a clock. It says Queens Village Republican Club, Stephen Flanagan, Patriot of the Year. 2012.
Just asked me if I wanted to say a few words. We said about 8 million words in the last 3.5 years. Phil wasn't kidding. He thinks I've been an inspiration to him. He's been an inspiration to me as well. You know, it's not easy for people who haven't been involved to get up off the couch and stop cursing at the television and things like that. You've heard all of that. That's probably not true for a lot of the people in this room because you have done it, you've been involved, you've been there. But that wasn't enough over the years. As we watched our country in the last couple of decades, what have we seen? Not just deficits, an attack on freedom, an attack on free enterprise, creation of the welfare state. You know, Congressman Turner talked earlier about, you know, getting back to what really counts in America. Well, what does count? What does count? This country was built on individual freedom, free enterprise, entrepreneurship, people taking care of their families. And now what do we hear out of Washington? What do we hear out of Albany? What do we hear? I'll take care of you. I'll take care of your needs. I'll take care of your health care. I'll take care of your energy. I'll take care of this. I'll take care of your food. I'll take care of everything. That's not the American way. It's never been the American way. This country was built on free enterprise and individual freedom. And if we don't get back to those core values, then all is going to be lost. We all know that. That's why we're here. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir. But what we need to do is get beyond this room and get beyond the people who have been involved. What happened in Bob Turner's election was historic. A lot of people didn't think it could happen. We were a little doubtful ourselves, to be honest with you. But when it came out, we found out there were enough people out there willing to bypass party labels and do what was right for the country. What happened? 3-to-1 Democrat district and a Republican elected. What does that tell you? I know it tells me that there are reasonable people in this country who are going to stand above partisan and party politics to do what's right. And part of what we've done in our organization is try and get that message out. We're not very happy with any of the parties. I know I'm in a Republican club, I'm sorry, but let's look through our history. 94 came by and what happened? We balanced the budgets, you know, seemed like everything was pretty good. Had a couple of years of, you know, prosperity there. But what happened? Republicans controlled the House and the Senate for 20 years. It didn't stop the decline. It didn't stop that march towards the nanny state. The reason we formed the Conservative Society for Action is because the parties weren't doing their job. None of the parties. And we've been to other organizations and other clubs and other groups, and everybody says the same thing. We all got to work together. We've all got to rise above and do what's right for the country. But who actually does it? We created an organization and we have Republican members, and we have Democrat members, and we have Independence members, and we have blanks. We just don't have Working Families Party. So we draw the line there. But we know that we can win. We know that our message is reasonable. We just have to get that message out there. And what I do in an organization like this is I appeal to people like you because you are the activists within your party. You're the activists in your community. And what we've asked people to do when they become members of our organization is to rise above the politics, the party, the job, the patronage, the political favors. Because if we don't put a stop to what's going on in this country, there aren't going to be any jobs. There isn't going to be any patronage. You're only going to be able to go to one place for that job. That's not going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for our country. You know, it all comes down to what we started as an organization, it's a political action organization, is political will. Everybody in this room knows what needs to be done. We know that government is out of control. We know that spending is too much. We know that regulations are too high. We know that we need to unleash the entrepreneurial spirit and the free enterprise system in this country. But without the political will to make it happen, it's just talk. That's why it's important that we elect people like a Bob Turner. In a representative democracy, the way the people are heard is to elect those others who will represent us. Mr. Turner happens to be one of those people. But where I come from, there are a lot of representatives that don't represent us. And what we're going to do is we're going to work hard and do our best to throw those people out of office. You know, we also talk about what's happening down in Washington, and the Congressman talked about it a little bit before. What's happening down there is blatantly unconstitutional. You know, there's a clause in the Constitution called advise and consent. Did anybody hear that one? You know, only the Senate can pass a treaty. But do you know that presidents in the last decade or so have signed on behalf of the Senate and enacted by executive order treaties on behalf of this country? Unconstitutional. How many czars are we up to? Butch, you just sent me an email. What's the czar total up to?
30 czars.
30 czars appointed by this president. What the hell is a czar? Advise and consent. Read the Constitution. A president does not have the constitutional authority to make those appointments. Period. But where is the outrage? Where is the outrage? Where are our senators? Where are our House members besides Mr. Turner? Where is our so-called free press? If we don't rise up and call this country on these issues, we're not going to have a country. And you talk about freedom. I don't know how many people ever heard of or heard from the president of Soviet Georgia. You know, when the Soviet Union broke up, you know, it was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Well, they had their collapse 20 years ago. And a lot of these republics spun off to the individual countries. One of them is called Soviet Georgia. You know, the president of Soviet Georgia was here a couple of weeks ago. He wants to run against the Obama administration. He wants to help. And why? Take a look at this sometime, and you won't believe how preposterous it is. When that country broke off from the Soviet Union, they adopted an American-style free enterprise system. The president of Soviet Georgia is absolutely concerned that the U.S. is going to lose its leadership role in this world when it comes to freedom and free enterprise and individual freedom. They're doing it over there. That ex-Soviet republic, they're an oil exporting nation, like Canada is now, if you've noticed. They supply half the natural gas to Europe. No regulations. Lowest tax rates in the world. Because they realized that in studying history, the way to get their country back was to adopt American-style free enterprise and capitalism. And if we don't start understanding that that's what's at stake here, and we don't start fighting for that, we're going to lose it here. Now, I don't want to take up a lot of time because I'm preaching to the choir, but one of the problems, one of the things that we are going to be doing is getting involved in campaigns. We did it with Bob Turner's campaign, and I'm proud to say that a lot of the people in the room were there that night on the victory night in an improbable election. It can happen. And the other thing that we put out there so that people don't think that it's too daunting is what does it take? When we started Conservative Society for Action, people came up to me and said, "You're the Conservative Society for Action. Liberals aren't going to join you." "No, you're damn right they're not. I don't want them." We have to understand. We have to understand that there's a certain percentage of the population out there that's not going to vote our way. But if you look at the numbers, we don't have to change the minds of every liberal in the country. As a matter of fact, we don't have to change the minds of any. We have to change the minds of 4% of those people that voted in the last presidential election. Because if 4 out of 100 people change their mind, it's 8% at the polls, and we win. So our goal is simple. We need to take our message, and it has to go beyond these walls and beyond this party, and reach reasonable people that have an open mind. Democrats and independents and moderates, who in their heart know that this economy is not very strong. They know that debt is not good. They know that attacks on free enterprise are bad. They know that overregulation of industry is wrong. But unless we represent that and get that message out, we're not going to make that change. So our group is dedicated to political action. In a democracy like this, the way we exercise our political will is to elect those people out there that will represent us. That's what we're dedicated to doing, and that's what we are going to continue to do. I want to thank everybody who's here tonight. I know I got a little nervous before because the The rabbi said that he wanted to bless our president. I didn't realize he meant the president of the club. You scared me for a second over there. Fair is fair, but you got me with that one. But again, I just want to thank everybody. This is a great honor. Phil is a great gentleman here. We've worked very closely in past elections. We're going to be working for future elections, and we're going to win in 2012 and take this country back. Thank you.